purchased some cameras that we are in the process of coordinating with the Sheriff's Department to install throughout the community. So Roads and Transportation, which is one of the departments within the county, is coordinating with the Sheriff's Department. We're installing those cameras on the right-of-way, and then that equipment will be coordinated with the Sheriff's Department's system so that it can provide information throughout the community from those locations. So.
And so have we identified areas at this point?
So
the sheriff's office will speak to that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I think there is limited information that's publicly available about that though, so I'll let them speak to that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so that we can get the beginning of the information that we need, we're gonna ask that we receive Sheriff Mark Petway at this time.
Good evening, everyone.
Good afternoon.
President Smith, thank you for this opportunity. We're here on behalf of the commissioner. The commissioner invited us out also to speak to you all about cameras that will be placed in your community. We're so thankful for your commissioner purchasing cameras through our sheriff's office. Amen. These cameras are here to have eyes on your community. So we're watching your community night and day to make sure you're safe. And I do have one of my lieutenants here who's going to speak about the placement of the cameras. We do have a connection now that we're working with the Alabama Power Company to allow us to put some cameras on the poles that they have. That communication is in process right now. We do not have the authorization to use those poles, but we're looking to be able to use those poles. But right now we're looking to the business community to be able to use some of their poles because their poles are powered up and we can use them immediately. Well, let me ask Lieutenant James to come forth to explain to you some of the areas where the cameras will be placed. And these cameras will be strategically placed to watch over the residents as well as the business community.
Thanks, Sheriff. As the Sheriff stated, we're going to place, the first phase we're going to roll out is 12 of these cameras. And I'll explain the abilities of these cameras to you. We have, first of all, we have someone at the Metro Area Crime Center 24 hours, 7 days a week that can pull up video and review it and give live. If they need to, they can give recorded information to the detective, or they can log into that camera and view it live and give live or real-time information to responding officers. The cameras, most of them will have 2 separate cameras on them. If it's on the strip, we'll dedicate one of the cameras to the business in that area, and then we will probably use the other one to focus on an intersection or other interests that police departments have or the sheriff's department has. These cameras will have a steady blue light on the side of them, which will be a deterrent for criminals. They'll stay away from them usually. We've noticed when we put these cameras out that the crime rates or the calls go down. They record on board for up to 30 days. We can pull their videos from the remotely. We don't have to come out to the camera and pull the video. We can pull it remotely. Now, we won't be able to monitor these cameras because we have so many. We've got like 3,000 cameras now. We sometimes only have 1 or 2 people down at the MAC. But they are integrated into our 911 system. So where we get a call, and like for instance, we get a call at Heflin in 78, that call will be generated by 911, and that will give the people at the MAC an alert, and they know to pull those cameras up and start viewing and see if they've got any real-time information they can give to the officer. Yes, sir.
How many cameras do you post in this area?
The first phase, we're going to have 12. They'll mainly be on the strip and on Minor Parkway, and a few out in the apartment complexes. The next phase, there'll be 30, which that will be dedicated for Commissioner Scales' entire district. Y'all may get some more out of them. That will be up to her and law enforcement. Yes, sir.
What other areas that these cameras are located in Jackson County? And then can you give us some crime statistics for this area specifically?
I don't have the crime statistics for this area today. We did have them at our meeting. We used the crime stats to focus on the created hotspots to tell us where most crime was taking place. That's where we strategically try to place those cameras. The amount of cameras, we have like 80 of these cameras throughout the county. We have a vast majority of them in Center Point and Fairfield, but then we have several others scattered throughout the county. Yes, ma'am.
Is dumping garbage on the roads and on private property, is that against the law?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you get to the bottom of who's doing that? Would that be something that
You file a report with your local law enforcement. At the sheriff's department, it'd be with us. Just call and file a report. They'll come out and investigate, just like any crime. They'll try to find a name or identifying anything identifying in the garbage itself. Yes, ma'am.
You said that there are 12 cameras that they're gonna put up, and how much area would that cover, being the size of Forest?
The cameras will cover whatever your eye can see, the camera can see, and it records it. But, yes, ma'am.
No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, okay, you said you were gonna talk to some of the businesses, but inside, in the community, we don't have businesses in the community itself. They're on the island. So how would that protect we the people in the community?
Well, the problem, the main obstacle in getting these cameras deployed is a power source. As of right now, I know the sheriff mentioned Alabama Power may work with us, they may not, but they will not, at this time, they will not allow us to put cameras on any of their poles because they sell the same type camera for 4 or 5 times the price that we can build. So it's all a money thing. The way we can get around, if you want one in your community, we'll have to have a pole and a power outlet on that pole. And, yes.
Lieutenant, can I speak to that as well?
Okay, hang on. Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Where I live, there is a pole right there on the corner.
And that's going to be an Alabama Power pole.
And I get that, but some of these poles, some people pay Alabama Power for the lights.
Yes, ma'am, I've tried that route. It's not your pole, you're leasing it from Alabama Power. And you cannot have anything. If you put anything on it, they'll come take it off at this time. And the sheriff mentioned that we also have the ability to, with your permission, we can access your home cameras. If you have a doorbell camera or a security camera pointing toward the roadway, we can come in and put a small device the size of a pack of cigarettes on your network switch, and it allows us to view it, or either you can just register that camera, and we can, at that time, we know that, hey, there's a camera, we had a crime in this area, this house has registered their camera, so we can send them an email or make a call to them and get that video evidence in quicker that way. It's cheaper and quicker than going door to door. Yes, sir.
First, I think it's good, but this may just be me.
Yes.
But a concern that I have, and it may not be valid, is being watched a bit much by the cameras. So, speaking from a position of ignorance, and I think it kind of ties with someone else had asked, I genuinely don't know what crime there is in my neighborhood, in my area. I know it's not perfect. I don't know what crime there is. There are some things, though, that I do know are persistent, continuing issues. And one of them is dumping. You've heard it a lot, I know, already. So I know that in the past we talked about being able to use some sort of digital monitoring to help counter that. And I know some of this is tactical, but as a concern of mine, first of all, glad we're getting them. And I sincerely hope that there's a lot of analysis going into where they're being put, so that they're being used to counter the issues that we have. and not so much just to, Big Brother, community, if you will.
That, us just watching the cameras, we don't have time to do that. And trust me, every day our camera count grows. And there is no way we can't even use the word monitoring because we're not monitoring. We just use it mainly to go to pull evidence for the investigation, or if there is a main event or like a concert or something in that area, we may monitor them and pull some special units in to monitor that. Or, again, one more way is if we get that alert in that area that the crime's taking place, then we will monitor. But it's not the Big Brother thing. Yes, ma'am.
When we first started talking about the cameras, I did have a meeting with the Alabama Power, and they did, it was an issue with their legal team for us because we were gonna try to buy our own cameras and put them up if we can use their poles, but it was a problem with their legal team. But let me address, someone else had a question about the lights. So I talked with Mr. Williams from Alabama Power on today. So if you are paying for light on the pole that's right by your home, then you need to give that information. If it's pointing towards the street, give that information to your association president, and we can get together, because I am in conference with Mr. Williams and Mr. Julian, because we have some poles that our association is paying for and some that our residents are paying for. And so we're trying to determine, is that the responsibility of the county, those that are pointing towards the street? So give that information, that poll number, you get the poll number, and give it to the officer of your association, and we'll get together on that.
Yes, sir.
Two concerns. I have about 3 businesses across the street here, and also there's 2 poles that's on my property across the street. But my main concern is, I live on Roberta Road, and as you know, Roberta Road is Talladega 500 going to the interstate. And, between Roberta Road and Melinda Lane, as far as there being, speeding is terrible there, and I want to know if we can get a camera there on Roberta Road, Melinda Lane, as far as there being, to slow this traffic down. I mean, they come through there. I have a speed sign in my yard say 35 miles an hour, and I'm telling you the truth, they're driving 65 and 70 miles an hour, heading to the interstate and away from the interstate.
Yes, sir. These cameras, with my experience, they do not deter speeding.
Will they read the tag?
No, sir. These cameras are strictly video cameras. Now, the license plate readers, which you may be referring to,
Right.
They read the tags, but that's not for the sheriff's department. That's a third party. We actually have to buy them ourselves to use them in areas. We need them for special.
Who do I need to contact?
We have purchased some, and they're setting them up right now for us to be able to use. So,
Well,
Will you look at Roberta Road?
I'll tell the sheriff. But back up to that just a minute. It's not, you lease it. You never own those. They're $2,500 to $3,000 a year. A lot of neighborhood associations are getting these license plate readers to put at their entrance or in areas of concern like you. But they don't issue tickets like the e-tickets, so we don't have any of them, and I don't think Sheriff wants any of them, do you?
there's still some legal problems with the camera tickets right now. The state is still working on seeing whether it's legal or not to issue someone a ticket by camera. Usually we issue a ticket to a driver, not to a vehicle. So they're still dealing with that at the state right now.
And I will forward that information to Commissioner Scales as far as the companies that you can contact. But it's $3,000 a year. The last time that I looked into it, they come out. It's a lease. It's hands off for you. They put it up, put the pole up. They get a permit. It's solar powered. We don't have to worry about power or anything. But all it did, it just reads the tag. It comes in handy sometimes if we're looking for a certain tag. We can key a tag number in, and it tells us where it's hit, and it gives us an idea of where to look for that vehicle. Yes, sir.
I just want to support this fellow up here. They don't stop at the stop sign either. I've been almost hit 3 times. One in front of the hamburger place by Dearman's, twice over there on Roberta Road where I can't but stop, and then I pull out, and it's dangerous.
Well, I see Lieutenant Hollyquest, the lieutenant on patrol. She's taking notes as you're talking, so hopefully she can set somebody over there. Yes, ma'am.
Well, Slocum Road is a straight through road, and they get it from the they just not all the way to 78 or the opposite, especially the guys with the Camaros and the
Chargers.
Yeah.
She's still right.
Do you have a
Yes, sir.
specific time of day that they're traveling down their road, speeding?
All times of the day. And that's where the school buses come down, home. They don't stop, they just keep right on going.
Sure, okay.
Yes, sir.
In the past, I've sent letters to Sheriff Pettigrew office about trolling arrow and forestry. I still over here on Cedar Crest Road. And when we do see a sheriff deputy Pettigrew just going about 25, 30 miles an hour and stop, how can we get them to slow down and start patrolling the area?
Driving.
Instead of just driving through the patrol area.
Deputy Brown is the deputy that patrols this area. And he will make sure. Okay. I couldn't hear that question.
They have to run sirens every time they pass this house.
Not every time, but they do it every time.
That's quick. From experience, I know it's happened time and time again. Every time someone, not every time, but a lot of times when a citizen complains and wants us to patrol for speeders, we usually stop the person that's complaining and ask us to be out there for speeding. So be careful. Yes, ma'am.
Another thing is, a lot of these people, everybody pretty much in Barstow has a driveway. But you got these people that want to park on the street in blocks, where you can't see. Like if you live on the street with a hill, and there's a person that lives on my street, he wants to park an 18-wheeler on the street, which is, that's a habit.
When that happens, call and get somebody out, come out and take care of it. I mean, they'll do that. Have you called and they didn't respond?
I haven't called.
If you'll call, we'll come take care of that. Yes, sir.
We complained about an 18-wheeler with a trailer in the community, called the sheriff, and he said there was nothing they could do about it.
About 18-wheelers being parked on the side of the road?
No, on the street in front of the house.
Okay. If it's blocking the roadway, they should be able to do something with that. Lieutenant Hollyquest, what street are you talking about and referring to, sir?
Mohegan.
Mohegan. You got 18-wheelers parking on the side of the road all the time. Cedar Crest Drive. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question that might be already answered. On Duke and Avenue and Daniel Payne Street Road, whatever, there is trash, just bungle of trash, chairs, beds for your TV. We cleans it up, community, but it comes back, right back. Even put a sign out there, no dumping, they pulled that up. But I'm surprised you will soon see a body that they dump out there.
Well,
And it's pretty close to these homes.
we have Roads and Transportation and the Sheriff's Department is working on a proof of concept right now. There's new AI technology out there that a camera, you can put a camera up and it can detect illegal dumping and give us an alert at the MAC. They're actually doing a proof of concept on 2 sites. I'm not sure where they're at. They haven't signed on the dotted line yet, but that's with the Roads and Transportation and the third-party companies. they will be, but we're tied in by being able to get the alerts, and we can click on it and see somebody dumping, dispatch a car out there and try to, hopefully that proof of concept will go well and we'll get more of those in. But it's all goes back to money, because each one, there's 2 cameras at each site, and each one of those are $3,000 a year to lease.
Well, can you just get us one?
When this proof of concept is proven to work, when it's proven to work in the proof of concept, the sheriff will put it on the website and publicize that these things are out there, and maybe funding can come from, I'm not gonna commit the sheriff, but it could come from the funds, just like this camera fund are coming.
But it's bad, it's really bad.
I agree with you. That is Ms. Carter's told me, Director Carter's told me that that's a costly issue they're having.
Grandchildren go to school there.
Yeah, children going to school.
No, the city was there, cleaned that whole thing up. The next week, they put it right back down. So the city has been here.
Yeah.
Because I've seen them, because I have 2 grandkids go to the charter school. And the city came all the way down and cleaned the whole thing. And next week, I saw mattresses and everything. So, you know, I'm not gonna say the city of Birmingham ain't cleaning it. They are.
They're not patrolling it after they're cleaned. Yes, sir.
Yeah, in reference to patrolling the area, Mr. Petway referred to Officer Brown, and he's only one person.
That's
How
right.
regular, if there's a man shortage or officer shortage, because he can only be one place.
Let me explain to you like this. We have large beats, and that's been a problem. We could use more personnel to make our beats smaller. And we've had that problem since I've been in the sheriff's office for over 30 years now. The beats are too large. Before, a few years ago, we had an expansion in Jefferson County. The neighborhoods are now getting closer than what they were before. Throughout all of Jefferson County here, our neighborhoods are growing. And that has caused a problem. We need more deputies in smaller beats. The city of Birmingham, they have smaller beats because they were used to patrolling cities, which had large population of people within the city. The county was different. It was a rural area, which there was the neighbors were further apart, fewer people. That has changed now. We have to adapt to the way the county is made up. So that has been a problem. And we will go to the county commissioners and ask for more deputies to put on patrols. We do need them. We do need to make our beats smaller so our response time can be quicker also.
Yeah, we need that, like yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Sheriff Petway, I live off of Miami Drive and Miami Place. A couple of weeks ago, your deputy talked with Deputy Hollingworth.
Hollyquest.
And I have 2 questions. So your office did allow us to have some deputies to come out and follow us down Cherry Avenue, Heflin, and no sooner we picked up the paper, it was back out there again.
Right.
So we did this and ran several guys. And the second question that I have is off of Miami Drive and Miami Place, there are a lot of small kids. We went before Mrs. Scales' office and talked with her secretary about getting, like what they have downtown, affordable speed breakers. They said we couldn't do that because it was a liability risk for the motorists. Well, if you have them downtown and it's not a liability risk, why can't we have them in our neighborhood to deter? Like one of these ladies said earlier about the speeding cars with the Chargers and the Camaros. That way, you can prevent an accident before it happens.
That is the issue with roads and transportation. They will have to come out and they will have to do an assessment before they put those roadblocks within the street. So you might want to talk with them to see if they can come out to do an assessment to see if your area is.
And the response we got back, and we also had one of your relatives, your aunt, she signed a petition too. And we went before the Road and Transportation Department, and they said that it was, not feasible for us to have those speed breakers in our neighborhood.
Okay.
And I have documentation.
Hi, Sheriff. I just got here a little late because a car just ran off the road on Heflin. I hope they're out of the little ravine right now, but I live in the residence where the FedEx truck ran off the road. The neighbor next door currently has 14 vehicles there. I have sent pictures over the last 7 years to Commissioner Scales, to Gibbons, to Michael Morrison, to everyone of the trash and of the cars that he's collecting there. The street is narrow. He parks his truck sideways. So therefore, when it's nights like tonight and even in the mornings between rush hour and evening traffic, it's very dangerous because visibility is poor and they're running off the road and they're gonna hit that car and all that stuff he has piled over there. It's enough to blow up the community.
Did you get our address, Lieutenant?
That's Heflin, and they also speed down that street.
Okay, could you give her your address again?
930 Heflin Avenue East.
Ms. McWilliams?
Yes, I'm not complaining, but he went back to Brown. Now, here I am at Walgreens. Walgreens, you know the Walgreens. You got the Mexican place over there. However you get this thing up there, I'm clocking. I'm gonna stay out there an hour. They didn't never move. So I just went on home. So they on vacation to me. When they come in and they go to the Mexican place, across there. And sure enough, I see Brown, I see a few more of them be out flying everywhere. But you got some ain't going nowhere. You go right to the Mexican. I got pictures.
Lieutenant Sergeant, y'all make sure y'all take a note of that. He's right in the back. Wanna make sure we take a note of that if they're congregating all at once. Yes, ma'am. And let me share something with you also. Let me share something with you right quick. If you have not downloaded this Jefferson County Sheriff's Office app, please go ahead and download our app. If you have an iPhone, you can go and download our app on your iPhone. If you have an Android, you can download our app on your Android. You can communicate with us through those apps, and there are things that we will send out to you that we're doing for the public, and we will make sure that you get alerts of things that's going on in your community. Please download our app and share it with your neighbor, so we can make sure that we stay in touch and you can communicate with us. You had to say it right back here. Yes, sir.
I live on Arcadia Road. We have motorcycles that come through, and I'm certain there has to be some sort of noise ordinance that goes on through there. What do we do with something like that? You know, short of following these gentlemen to the gas station and having a talk with them there. Because we got little kids at the end of that street, and it scares the junk out of them. We were out there just trying to be outside with our kids, and it's loud enough to damage their ears.
Okay. There's not a noise ordinance. It depends on, since it's a vehicle, they're not gonna be able to really regulate. It should have a muffler. If it's not a muffler on that, then we can do something about that.
So what do we do? Because it's a motorcycle.
I know sometimes motorcycles are loud, but if it does not have a muffler on it, we can do something about a vehicle not having a muffler on it. We can cite them then. Yes, ma'am.
First of all, thanks to Commissioner Scales' office and thanks to Jefferson County for working with the commissioner for getting the cameras installed in the area. But once the cameras are installed, will that information go out to the general public so that people will know, hey, they got cameras in Forestdale, so y'all better be careful if you're going that way. The people in the community or the people in Forestdale will be well aware of the cameras. But is that something that's going to be on TV so it can deter the crime to go potentially the other way?
Now you gotta notice that we tell people what cameras are. They're not gonna commit a crime in front of
No,
the
no, not where the cameras are, but they do have cameras in the area. Like I know that they have a camera in Midfield because I've gotten a ticket, e-ticket, in that particular area. So whenever I'm going, traveling through Midfield, I know to be extremely careful because they got the cameras. I don't know where the cameras are, but I know that it works. All I'm trying to find out is, hey, they got cameras in Forest there. Y'all be careful about going that way.
I will leave that question for the commissioner to answer for you.
Okay.
Because she is the one who.
Like PR,
Right.
Yeah.
This is her project. We're working with her on this project.
Thank you.
But as she rolls out the project, I will let her answer questions about how she will roll out the project. I'm quite sure that's something that she wants to do, but we are working together to make sure that you have cameras in your area.
Thank you.
What about how are you trying to deter shooting in the community?
Now, if you have a camera on your home, specifically a ring camera that's on your front porch, we would love to have access to that camera to come into our MAC Center. We have a way that we can get with you to bring your camera to our MAC Center, and it would not involve going into your home or anything. So we would love to be able to get that information about whatever's going on your street into our MAC Center, and we can cover a lot of area just by doing that. If everybody on the street has a camera on their porch, we have a lot of visibility right there from that area that we can bring into our MAC Center, and we would love to do that.
Well, there is a link on the sheriff's website to register a camera. You can do it with a simple click of a mouse. Sheriff, if you don't mind, if you're really, the community is really wanting a camera in your community, if you can get me a pole up and a plug on that pole, about 15 to 20 foot high, I can just about assure you I can get you a camera on it, one way or the other. I'll come out. If you need me to come out, I'll come out and assess the area. But the hurdle to these cameras is getting a pole and a plug on that pole. Now, if you want to put the plug or hook the power up to your house, these units do not use but 14 watts of energy. So you may see $1 to $1.50 increase in your monthly bill. That's it. It doesn't have to have an internet connection. It uploads via the cellular signal, and the sheriff's paying for that. So I will be glad to come out and work with you in your neighborhood to see if there's a site that we can put a camera. Yes, sir.
What about a solar panel?
Solar panel you have to have 2 or 3 batteries that weigh 20 or 30 pounds apiece, and you'd have to have a 4x4 solar panel. So it would be astronomical in cost. The lithium batteries are $700 a piece.
We'll have one more question over here before Commissioner comes.
Okay, my question is, back to Roberta Road. Coming off of 78, coming off of 22, we have a lot of 18-wheelers now coming through the neighborhood. Coming off the interstate headed to 78, coming off 78 headed to the interstate. What can we do to stop that? Can we get a sign that no 18-wheelers or something? Wait. I'm talking about the Roberta Road. I know, but we have them coming through that. That's the point I'm trying to make. Can we get a sign on Roberta Road saying?
Okay.
That they already know that they're not supposed to come that way. So what they've been saying is, I know that Lieutenant Hollenquist, her doors are open and she's ready to help if we just come and talk with her and we can go directly and report some of these things. So let me just say thank you for your questions to the Sheriff's Office. And let me say thank you to Commissioner Scales once again for getting this all together for us. I do appreciate her doing what she says she's going to do. She is a woman of her word, and I do appreciate that. So at this time, we're gonna receive, Commissioner Scales, and she addresses us tonight.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Let me tell you how proud I am of you. This is how we win. Y'all do know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
You can have the presence of a few that determines the outcome for the masses. But people take you more seriously when they know that you're willing to show up for the meeting. Rain, shine, sleet, I don't want to say snow. But this is how we win. So first of all, let me say again, as your commissioner, I'm really, 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 really proud of you for coming out tonight. I'll be very quick. I know some of you all came to the previous meeting for Marywood, which is why we started this whole thing tonight. But you're gonna have, I believe in giving you information in writing, and we've updated, can you give me that, Ashley? So I can have my own and then they can have, we've updated it to include the cameras. Very quickly, let me share something with you. I believe in taking telephone numbers so that we're not an ignorant group of folks, okay? So how many of you all either got your phone or you got pens, ready to take some numbers? All right, because we see, we want solutions. We don't want to just come to the meeting and say we had a meeting. We want to have solutions to the meeting, okay? So number one, did we get the number to the sheriff's office?
No, wait a minute.
You did not? I know you didn't do that. Hey, Sheriff, I'm sorry. And first of all, y'all give a hand to one of the best sheriffs to me in Jefferson County. Sheriff, what is the contact number that you want them to have to be able to reach your office in the event of an, not just an emergency, but if they want to talk about patrol and some other issues?
My direct number in my office is 205
205
325
325 5705. That's 205 325 5705. Y'all got that number?
And also you can stop on the substation. The lieutenant will be at the substation shooting you at.
Where's the lieutenant chair? All right, she busy back there in the back. Okay, and so we're gonna make sure we bring her up front too, because it's always good for you to know who's patrolling your community, isn't that right? All right, so then we had Heather Carter. Heather, stand up for us. She's such a beautiful sister. Okay, Heather works, and I see she has her assistant with her. Nice, so you can stand up too, sir, because y'all know I appreciate you for coming after hours. Okay, so Heather is over our roads and transportation department. So when you talk about access to these cameras and right-of-way access, road problems you all discussed in the meeting, I told you all that we have a department, roads and transportation. So Heather, you mind giving them a number to contact your office?
205-325-5141.
I'm gonna tell y'all, 205-325-5141, 205-325-5141.
We would like to remind everybody about the My Defco app. It is an excellent way to get information to us, and it puts the information into our work order management system the best way, because we run reports off that and we monitor it. So it's a great way to, even after hours, if you see something, take a picture, run through the app on your phone, you can submit any of that, and it allows us to get it, look at the pictures, get all that information. It even tags it with the location, so we know exactly where we're supposed to be, which makes it quicker when we come out and look at things, so we don't get confused.
So you all got, so you all have my Jeffco app. Now for those of you all that said, well, Commissioner Scales, I'm not into all of that, that's okay. That's why I gave you a phone number, right? So that number is 205-325-5141. Or you can go to the My Jeffco app. Does that make sense? MyJeffco app. So if you're on Android, go to your Play Store. If you do Apple device, then you know how to download the app. Chief Gober is here with us on tonight. Excellent chief, making sure that we take care of District 1 and 2 on behalf of your community. Now, one of the things that I wanted to do as a suggestion, humble suggestion, so don't y'all beat me up. We have various neighborhood associations. First of all, how many of you all are with Marywood? So you got a good number tonight. How many of you all are with other neighborhood associations? All right. Merge, because here's what I told them. You all need to become a mighty fist.
Amen.
Your commissioner is a fighter, right? But you can't do it like this.
That's right.
You gotta do it like this.
Yeah.
So when we speak of Forest Dale, that's what I was sharing with Madam President. My attitude is you're unincorporated Jefferson County. That means you don't have a city government. You can only depend on the resources that the county gives to you, right? And because we know that, that's why we don't need to be fragmented. We need to be solidly on one accord. Does that make sense? So when we speak as one voice, and that's Forest Day.
Amen.
Now, my humble suggestion
Amen.
is that for the leaders that have already been chosen, then you all need to elect leaders amongst those leaders, right? So you already got president, vice chair, and you got your secretary, that's fine. Take everybody together, and then y'all decide who's gonna be this one, that one, and then let's get on the road. Let's go ahead and start meeting once a month, and let's get some things done. But we cannot do it if you expect the commission to show up like the 5 neighborhood meetings in Forest Day. Does that make sense? But see how you come out tonight? The sheriff is never going to forget this, right? Elected officials, they count numbers. Scales just love you, I'm going to show up if it's 2. But see, that's the church girl in me, right? But see, here's the point. For those who don't feel that way, bear with me, sir. They're going to look at numbers. And numbers equal votes. Do y'all understand that? Now, I think I have a different philosophy. I was the first African American to be elected on the east side of Birmingham, so I understand you got to work, right? Okay? And so you just can't get up here pretending. That's why I'm bringing you paperwork tonight. All right? So what you should do is that if the people voting and they're working with you to get things done, we vote them in, and then we make sure we send them home when they don't work in 4 years. You can't go to your job for 4 years and do no work. Is that right? Okay then. So if they're not coming to give you some paperwork, then that's a problem. So let's start with this very quickly. I got you. First of all, because we're unincorporated Jefferson County, your commissioner for Forestdale is who? Okay, now I want the neighborhood officer to tell me, I want you to talk to me, right? Because this is important. Your state representative is who? All right. So when we start talking about we need certain things to be done with the law, that's your state legislator. That has nothing to do with your county commissioner. Your county commissioner can only do what the law says. Is that right? So that's why I gave them a telephone number, which was her cell number, so that you can start talking to your legislator. Who is your senator? That's problematic. Did you go to the polls in November? You don't know who you voted for? Huh? Oh, okay, well say it together. Linda Coleman. That's my senator, right? Okay, Senate District 20. All right, so we got to know that. So when people ask you for your vote, how can I hold you accountable when I don't even know who you are and I don't know what you do? Does that make sense? Yeah. All right, so when we start talking about motorcycle, and you say, is there an ordinance? Well, here's the point. The sheriff can only enforce, because I want you all to get away from talking about cops, is law enforcement. So you got to have a law in place to enforce it, right? Well, what you're going to find out is in unincorporated Jefferson County, you can discharge a firearm, and you don't have noise ordinances just like you would in a city. Does that make sense? So now when we start having this big old group of folks, and these elected officials recognize that you all are voters, now they got to say, okay, well, is that what you want? You want to get something done about the noise? Okay, well, then we need to have that in the legislative session, which they're in session right now. Does that make sense? And then what we have to do is we're going to help them to craft something, and with a push from us, now we are speaking from one voice, and we're saying, listen, we want our community to go back to where it was. We want to be quiet. We don't want you to think you can discharge a firearm recklessly, that's the word, recklessly into the air, and don't think that it don't supposed to come back. That makes sense? All right, so your commissioner is who? All right, okay, and so your state representative is who? All right, and then your senator is who? Your sheriff is who? Okay, now if you're not calling the three of us, plus the sheriff, shame on you. Don't you let nobody make you feel like you just a vote. Do you hear me? You are a taxpayer. That's the difference. You pay my salary, you pay everybody's salary. Nobody doing this because, you know, I do it. I would do it if I didn't get paid to do it. But everybody don't feel that way. And guess what? And you paying their salary. Does that make sense? All right, so let's go to work. Y'all see this document right here? All right, so let's talk about scale since you got all that mouth. What you did for us. And sir, I have not forgotten you, okay? I just want to get through my presentation first. All right, so we talked about these cameras. Let's be clear as relates to that. So let's go to, hold on just a moment. I want to thank my staff too. Dr. Jones, you can raise your hand. Dr. Jones is over our, he is over our governmental affairs. And then Ms. Murph, she's one to help us to get these checks out. So we get checks out in 2 weeks. So my promise was at the last meeting is that we talked about being able to have cameras, that Forestdale has never had cameras. So I told Lieutenant, shake your hand, sister. Okay, tell me your last name one more time. Huh? Hollingquest. You got a number that you want these folks to have? Okay. Well, she's your beat officer. Well, let me just say that she's your beat officer. But I will tell you how that conversation came about is that there were some questions as relates to illegal activity that was happening in the community, but they have never had cameras, right? And so we're a blended family. Okay, so I'm saying that because I'm getting ready to talk about race. So I say that I'm a black Jew, right? That means I take care of my own, right? Don't nobody get offended. All right. So I take care of my own. And that means that if you tell me that you got a problem in